I hate thinking about these movies. What is up, everybody? My name is Kevin, and today we're going to be talking about 10 movies that they deeply angered me. I mean, I still am angry at these movies, even years after watching some of them. So if you guys are interested in this sort of content, please like and subscribe. I try to post about movie and TV show content, so if you're into that sort of thing, please ring the bell because then you'll stay notified whenever I post a new video. Let's just hop into the honorable mention right now. So this honorable mention is Good Fortune. I just watched this for the first time a month ago, I want to say, and I thought for the most part this was a pretty entertaining comedy. And I was a little worried going into it knowing what the premise was about how a rich guy has to swap places with a very poor guy in LA. And it's interesting seeing the class dynamics, how different people live their lives compared to like being super rich or just living out of your car. And I was just not amused at the final just like sentiment of what they were trying to pass along. And it almost just was like, yeah, super rich people. I mean, like, they make all the money in the world. They obviously should be trying to give back in some capacity to poor people. But it's like, that's all you're trying to say at the end. Of course, the person who's poor would not want to switch back to being poor. I mean, nobody on this planet would choose just being poor. I don't understand why the movie thought it was as big of a moral dilemma as it was. So for that reason, I cannot put this in my top 10 because some of these movies made me even more mad. But I mean, this deeply angered me. At number 10, Cleaner. Okay, so Cleaner is just one of those movies where I guess Samuel L. Jackson, he probably wants to take a paycheck, and the opening premise is pretty interesting. This guy, he goes to house trying to clean after like crime scenes, a bunch of blood, all that stuff. And for that reason, I thought it was pretty interesting. And you see Samuel L. Jackson go to this house that he believes that he was hired to clean, and he cleans up this entire crime scene. And that's when they figure out that it was actually like a live crime scene. Someone who committed the murder hired him without even like informing the police or anything. So Samuel L. Jackson was very like scared, very worried. And here is what my issue is with this movie. He could have just gone to the cops, explained the situation. Hey, I was hired to do this job. I understand it wasn't you guys that hired me. It was someone else that hired me to clean up after their crime. He doesn't do that. And they try to throw some BS reason as to why he can't go to the cops because he has had a past of being a police officer and there was some shady stuff that he did. And if he went to the police, it might get out there, which it never makes any sense. And so for that reason, this movie deeply angered me. The whole reasoning as to why he couldn't just end this movie 10 minutes in was ridiculous. And so for that reason, I definitely had to put it in my top 10. Number 9, Disclosure Day. Let me just say, Disclosure Day really made me upset while I was watching it in theaters. I was really excited to watch a new Steven Spielberg movie. I love all of his alien movies, and I watched this with my buddies with a lot of expectations, high expectations, that Steven Spielberg was going to just blow my socks off. And unfortunately, he didn't do that. And even worse, he made me really angry during this movie. Multiple times during this movie, the movie asks you to shell your disbelief, to believe what you're seeing is actually happening, and there's a lot of plot conveniences that allows this movie to keep going. I mean, one of them is the main character, Josh O'Connor, has to Mission Impossible his way to a car while there's a bunch of these special agent operatives trying to go after him. No one looks to see if he's going to go in the car and drive off and whatever. He manages to take the car. Not only that, he goes through the house, which, okay, that's fine. It's a movie. And then he somehow, last minute, him and his girlfriend decide, we're going to get out of this car. We're going to send it over the cliff. And we're just going to hide behind this medium-sized boulder that if anyone just checks the surrounding area, they would have been caught. No, no one checked. They just looked at the water. They just assumed that they were down there. That is ridiculous. On top of that, I mean, Josh O'Connor knows that his girlfriend, they're able to look at her vision and everything. I mean, I'm going to put her in absolute just like timeout, covering her eyes for not letting her do anything. Well, Nope, that doesn't happen. They figure out what's going on, where their location is, and on top of that, she manages to escape. I mean, all these special operatives, they should know that they should surround the entire building. They don't do that. They just go to the front, they try to break their way through. No one tries to go behind to make sure that no one's escaping through the back window. And that's what ends up happening. The girlfriend escapes, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. This movie made me really upset. It was very stupid in a lot of different places, and I was just really, really disappointed, and so it had to be my top 10. Number 8, Happy Gilmore 2. Happy Gilmore 2 is just the epitome of what's wrong with Hollywood. Why are we taking a beloved classic comedy and just taking it out just to ruin and tarnish its reputation? I love Adam Sandler. I honestly really like some of his newer Netflix movies too. I think Hubie Halloween was really funny. It's just my type of humor. But Happy Gilmore 2 was just really depressing watching it because Happy Gilmore, the original, is a fantastic comedy. It's one of his best. And they managed to take that and turn Happy into a depressed drunk, which that alone, okay, that can lead to an interesting story. When I watched it, I just felt like it was very offensive to actual alcoholics and just really puts down or just makes it seem like it's not a serious thing at all, in my opinion, which I just think that's wrong. I understand comedy can push its limits, but just, I mean, with mental illness or just addiction, I don't think it's necessarily super funny to joke about it in that light. I also did not find it funny that we were just doing montages with famous people, and it was like, oh my goodness, it was blah 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 blah. I did not find that funny whatsoever. I mean, the golf cart, just like him coming out of retirement and doing the golf sequence with like Mark and Qualley, I thought that was not funny at all. And I just thought it went off the rails with the whole extreme sports section. I understand what it was trying to do. It was trying to actually take a dig at current golf that it's trying to evolve from the current game. But man, I did not find this movie amusing at all. It was not funny. It's definitely one of the worst comedies I've seen. And it's just disappointing that we're taking a really beloved actor and beloved comedy and just ruining it. So for that reason, it's at 8. Number 7, Freakier Friday. This is absolutely a goofy title. Freakier Friday. Anyways, I really love Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. I think they absolutely rock in that movie. I watch that multiple times a year just because it is a comfort movie for me. And so I was already worried when I knew that they were making a sequel to this years and years later. That first movie is perfect as a standalone, and I already did not want to watch it in theaters. And so when it eventually came onto streaming, I was like, you know what? I'll give it a chance. We'll see how it goes. And man, I thought it was despicable. I thought it's despicable that you're taking this movie, right, and you're just re-theming it to just new people, younger people that are having their body switched. You're also doing it with the teenage girls are switching with Jamie Lee Curtis and the mom too. I just did not find it funny. It doesn't have the charm of the original. It's always like, hey, you remember this from the first movie? It's very similar in a sense to Devil Wears Prada 2. It's pretty much the same exact vibe of those two movies. Devil Wears Prada 2, it's not on this list because I don't really like the original Devil Wears Prada that much. So this movie made me deeply angry, and I think just Disney, they have to ruin some certain things, and I cannot believe they ruined this one. So yeah, it's horrible. Number 6, Woman of the Hour. Woman of the Hour is just one of those Netflix movies where it's just like, who decided that this movie should exist? I mean, the whole premise is interesting, somewhat of a reality or like date show killer, someone that has a history of doing a bunch of murders and they go on like a love show. And man, I think this movie for the most part, like, it's fine, it's whatever, streaming slop. But Anna Kendrick deeply angers me in this movie, which I don't even understand why because I love Pitch Perfect and Pitch Perfect 2. And I just don't like her in this movie. I think she just is the same in every single movie she's in. And so if we wanted to make a list of some of my most hated actors and actresses, maybe we can after this, but I think she is definitely going to be in the top 10. I just could not get behind her whole story, and it's so dumb when she's trying to get away from the killer. Obviously, they dramatized it because this was in real life, but she is so dumb when it comes to getting away from this guy. I absolutely hated this movie. I thought it was dumb. Had to be in my top 10. Number 5, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I watched this some random day, some Thursday afternoon, and let me just tell you, Pete Davidson is not my type of comedian. I think he was extremely unfunny in this movie. I thought the entire cast was not funny, and it's just like, oh yeah, 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 Gen Z, Gen Z. Not any of that is actually applicable to Gen Z. I mean, it is just so dramatized, and I just do not find it funny whatsoever. So maybe it's because I'm Gen Z. Maybe the older audiences would find it funny. Maybe I'm just missing the point here. But I just thought this was like a complete misstep. I just did not find it funny whatsoever. It has to be here. It has to be here. I just did not like this movie. It deeply angered me, and I wiped out some of it from my memory, so that's why I don't remember as much. But I just remember hating this movie. So yeah, it belongs here. Number 4, the first Five Nights at Freddy's. I was really looking forward to this one, and I love Josh Hutcherson from Hunger Games. I thought this would be a good fit for him, and I have basic level understanding of Five Nights at Freddy's. I know I might get attacked because it's on this list, but man, this movie is incredibly boring. Incredibly boring. And it's really meant for the die-hard fans. And I think this comes back to the argument of, okay, as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, are you willing to accept just a movie that's made for you? Why would you want that? Why wouldn't you want more and more people to be a part of your fandom for you to connect with? Isn't that the whole point of these movies and like any content? You want people to enjoy what you're enjoying. So I think it's important to just look at these movies and say, okay, as a whole, yeah, maybe for the 2.5 hour runtime of these movies, they have 10 references of the actual game, deep cut references. But what else of worth happens in that first movie? It just sets up the second movie, that the second movie, it didn't do anything. The second movie also was a nothing burger. So as a whole, I think Five Nights at Freddy's is just a really missed opportunity. They've tried for years and years to make this movie before this eventual movie that was just a nothing burger to me, and it deeply angers me of just the fan reactions online. So I don't get it. I don't understand the fans on this one. Let me know what you guys think down below. Number 3, Snow White. I was talking about this on my Disney live action tier list that I just posted the other day, and Snow White deeply angers me. And I understand it was like the trend to hate on Gal Gadot, but if you can defend her in this movie, you need to watch other movies because this is a really bad acting performance. I don't know who was directing her and saying that you had to be like over the top, really goofy, but it just did not work. It did not work. And I think the person who portrayed Snow White, Rachel Segler, I really like her in pretty much everything else I've seen her in. But this movie, I mean, she was fine. She was fine. I think she got overhated on. But my major problem with the movie is just Disney. You decided you wanted to eliminate the Seven Dwarfs. I mean, I'm not going to dive deep into whether or not that was the right choice. But you went back on that because of the public reaction. The Seven Dwarfs are so interconnected. So I'm more on the side of, okay, maybe you made the wrong mistake, but you decided to leave them out. And then last minute, you decide to add them back. So they look unbelievably goofy in this movie. And you could just tell they had their own story. They wanted to elevate something from Snow White that it really isn't. And you had to shoehorn a bunch of the original stuff from Snow White. So I think that's awful. I think that's awful. It would have been better if they just went with their original thing, turned Snow White into something it wasn't. But no, you just feel it's two different movies in one movie, and it doesn't make any sense. And so for that reason, I think Disney is pathetic, honestly, for doing that. And so it had to be in my top 10. Number 2, A Wrinkle in Time. A Wrinkle in Time is just one of those movies that people don't like. I think the major audience really dislikes this movie. But let me tell you something. I think this is honestly one of the worst theater experiences I've ever had. I had to watch this for my sister's birthday. And I could not believe this shit that I was watching. This is absolute dog shit. This movie is awful in every single sense. All I remember is Oprah is in it. and this movie being so incredibly boring. And this is just awful. I mean, I've heard multiple people that they're huge fans of the book really dislike this movie. So it's not even just me that hasn't read the book and I don't understand what this story is about. The fans of the book don't even like this movie. So I do not enjoy this movie whatsoever. I just remember it always being one of the worst theater experiences. It's up there with Batman v Superman for me. But Batman v Superman doesn't anger me as much as this, and it's just such a waste of time. So for that reason, had to be at least in my top three. If you guys are into this sort of content, please again like and subscribe. You've made it this far, so help me out. But usually I'm not this heated and passionate about these movies, but it's just because I hate them so much, and I especially really dislike the first one. So let's hop into it. Number one, The Last Jedi. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I know some people are going to think, oh, he's a homer. He's a Star Wars homer. All he cares about is Luke Skywalker, and he doesn't care about any character development. This is not character development. This is just a character reconstruction that doesn't make any sense. Luke Skywalker is one of the best characters of all time. And you decide, taking what you got from Force Awakens, crafting it into another movie that doesn't make sense at all in a bigger trilogy. It makes absolutely no sense, this movie. And I will always hate the scene. This is my most hated scene in Star Wars history, when Leia is floating out into space. I remember watching that in the movie theaters and flat out laughing at what I was witnessing. This movie is just atrocious in all senses. I think it looks great. It's one of the best looking Star Wars movies, but character wise, they butchered Rey, they butchered Finn, they just put Finn as a side character, even though the first movie was setting him up as a big time player in this trilogy. It just deeply angers me. Luke would not give up on Ben Solo. I mean, that goes against his whole character arc in the original trilogy. He did not give up on Darth Vader. So I cannot get behind this movie. I despise it for what it did, and it destructed Star Wars as we know it. I mean, Star Wars at this point is just going on a downtrend, and it's because of this movie. So if you guys are into this content, again, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.